Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here to ready on the 10-game NBA main slate on Wednesday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA and NFL slates on Draftkings. I'm also making videos for NBA Top Shot. If you guys did miss my recent Top Shot video, made one explaining kind of the state of the market, the bear market that we're in, and also opened a rare pack. So go check that out. Again, uploaded it a couple days ago if you guys are into NBA Top Shot. If you're unable to watch his YouTube videos, I also upload an Apple Podcast. Link in the description below. It is called the DKDFS Show. If you guys have interest in signing up for premium content, I offer that on patreon.com, an esports package which includes Call of Duty and CSGO, as well as an NBA package. And I do want to thank Prize Picks for sponsoring this episode. If this is your first time watching these videos, or maybe you're just not familiar with Prize Picks. So what the idea is, you take over/under on fantasy points. So they will have fantasy projections for all the players. Right now they have 8 players up right now, but they have a lot more throughout the day. These will move. So if you see one that you think is either too high or too low, you should hop on that right then, because like I said, these will change. So for example, Russell Westbrook is projected for 54 fantasy points tomorrow. You know, would you like the over or under? Like for me, Westbrook, even in a tough matchup, I mean, 54 does seem a little bit low, so I would probably lean on the over for a guy like him. But yeah, they have a ton of different sports. You can mix and match sports. They have second half contests. They have fourth quarter contests. If you guys want to try it out, you can sign up and you just go DKDFS. DKDFS, all one word, link down below. You'll get a 100% match up to $100. You put $100 in, you get $200 to play with, or a free $100. And the fun thing about Prize Picks, it's a nice change of pace. You're not playing against anyone. You're just playing against the house. So it's a lot less stressful, I will say that. But yeah, and then also before we get in the video, I just want to thank you guys for all the support. Again, closing in, inching closer and closer to that 9,000 subscriber mark. So if you guys do enjoy this content, if you leave a like button on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload videos, you know when I'm live. As always, I will be doing YouTube live stream tomorrow, so make sure to check it out. And let's try to aim for 150 likes on this video. All right, so before we talk about players and their prices for this 10-game slate, unfortunately, we got to look at my lineup here for Tuesday. So, Tuesday, got a hanging breaking ball right down the middle. Really like this slate. Just a complete swing and a miss. Could not have gone worse. It is a notebook slate. Had to bring out the notes for today. Yeah, it was that bad. So, where do you guys want to start? I guess I can start with a move that I made that I announced on Patreon. I was like, hey, I am making a suboptimal play and fading the best player on the slate, and I am hoping that game blows out. I was like, hey, if the Thunder can keep it close, I am dead in the water. Yes, you guys know what I'm talking about. Jaylen Brown. So, faded the best play on the slate, and sure enough, the Thunder keep it close. Just already basically dead. Just to add insult to injury, my pivot off of the absolute chalk in Jaylen Brown was a low-owned Malcolm Brogdon. It's like, hey, that Blazers game, there's no blowout risk, super fast pace, you know, going to be a ton of points scored. I think Brogdon has similar upside as Jaylen Brown, is going to come in at way lower ownership. So what happens? The Pacers get blown out. And if you played Brogdon, he had like over 20 fantasy points in the first quarter and finished with like 25. So yeah, just again. Also, like there's so much here. So let's just go over my lineup. It is I gotta warn you guys, it is so ugly. Like you're gonna puke just looking at this. But all right, so here we go. Just all snowflakes. Malcolm Brogdon, Kevin Porter Jr., Edmund Sumner, Jakar Sampson, Nurkic, D'Lo, Hardaway, Cat. I guess I can get out of the way so you guys can see. Ugh. So again, tilted. Again, I faded the best play in the slate. I took a calculated risk. It went horrible. It went just completely just the worst possible outcome. With that the Boston Celtics game staying close and my pivot, that game blowing out. So yeah, Brogdon again had amazing first quarter, and then the Pacers just couldn't score after that. Kevin Porter Jr. and D'Angelo Russell. So Kevin Porter Jr. about 70% in high dollar. D'Angelo Russell about 70% in high dollar. You want to know what they started in the first half shooting? 1 of 14. 1 of 14 combined for Kevin Porter Jr. and D'Angelo Russell. All right, we're not done. I'm not done. I'm not even anywhere close to done tilting. How about Edmund Sumner? Guard / wing. Nah, this guy's never in foul trouble. You don't have to worry about foul trouble with guards, wings. No, you don't. 5 fouls. 5 fouls for Edmund Sumner early in the third. Just doesn't come back in. Also, 70% owned in high dollar. Jakar Sampson. Literally like clockwork. You play Jakar Sampson, he gets 2 quick fouls. Why not? Plus the blowout. He doesn't play in the blowout. O'Shea Brissett plays gets all the blowout run and just crushes in the blowout. If you played O'Shea Brissett, yeah, congrats. You did get, obviously, a little bit lucky since Brissett played the entire blowout and just crushed. And then Yusuf Nurkic. First, yeah, obviously tilted about the blowout. He lost minutes there. But he only plays 11 first half minutes. He had like 25 at half in 11 first half minutes and barely played the second half due to Terry Stotts' weird rotation plus the blowout. So you had a low-owned Nurkic on pace for 50-plus blowout. The Kevin Porter Jr., D'Angelo Russell just shooting like 5% from the field. 5 fouls in Edmund Sumner. Like clockwork, foul trouble for Jakar Sampson plus blowout. Tim Hardaway Jr. is the one guy that is looking all right, and Rick Carlisle trolls everyone and starts Trey Burke over Hardaway. Yeah, Hardaway was still popular, and then I used Karl-Anthony Towns. I talked about this. I was okay. I thought the optimal build was you play Jaylen Brown, you play Kevin Durant, and you play like Brog. I thought it was a balanced build. I was like, hey, I'm taking a suboptimal approach. I'm taking a shot fading Brown. I'm taking a shot on Karl-Anthony Towns, hoping you have a ceiling game. Just, again, awful. Like, all the good plays basically busted besides Jaylen Brown. One of those slates I just want to forget. So, I might finish dead last. I literally might finish dead last. So, that's how my night's going. All right, that's enough for the look back. Yeah. A slate I would like to forget. And the thing is, I actually liked that slate going into it. So we got 10 games to go over today. We have 6 of the 10 games out right now. Let's talk about this one. So we have Hawks and 76ers, a 220 over under. The 76ers 8-point favorites. Bulls, Knicks 207.5 over under. The Knicks 5-point favorites. Lakers, Wizards 223 over under. Lakers 3-point favorites. Spurs and Heat at 209 over under. The Heat 4-point favorites. Pelicans, Nuggets at 228.5 over under. The Nuggets 4-point favorites. And the Blazers and the Grizzlies at 235 over under. The Grizzlies 2.5-point favorites. So we'll start off with Orlando and Cleveland. I mean, you can't get a much worse matchup than the Orlando Magic going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. You could not pay me to watch this game. So the Orlando Magic, what we know: Terrence Ross doubtful, MCW out, Otto Porter Jr. out, and James Ennis is currently questionable. So, assuming the guys that are questionable, doubtful are out, I think Cole Anthony in the mid-range at 6.3K is a fair play. Should play low to mid-30s minutes, a guy that can stuff a stat sheet, and should be, kind of the number one on offense. I think he's a viable play. Carter Jr., Mo Bamba going to split the 7 minutes. Don't have a ton of interest in either of them. Chumo Kuki is below 5K. Again, he should get about 30 minutes. I think he's a fair play. Like, not a guy that has a ton of upside, but, again, price point makes him viable. And then, I really dislike playing Dwayne Bacon, but he did play 37 minutes the last game. Yeah, playable for GBPs. Again, though, he's got to hit his shots, and I don't think I can stomach anyone else in the Magic. And then going over the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're also thin, so no Sexton, no Nance, no Taurean Prince, no Hartenstein, no Dellavedova, no Lamar Stevens. We'll start with DARIUS GARLAND at 7.7K. He should play 35 to 40 minutes. Will be the number one on offense. I think he's a fair play just because, again, minutes, plus the fact that Cleveland are just a pretty bad team right now. With the bigs and Allen versus Love, if I'm going to pick one, it's going to be Allen just because he will play more. And he can actually play 35 minutes. Kevin Love, we're really not seeing a ton of minutes from him right now. So if I'm going to take a shot on one, it would be Allen, but don't love the play. Chetty Osman has been the absolute chalk the last couple slates as he should have been. He's played 37 and 38 minutes. Assuming he starts again, I still think he's viable, right? He should play similar minutes of 35 plus. The 5K price is not amazing. He's no longer a smash play, but I still think he's someone we can look to in the mid-range. And then there's a couple of viable value guys I'll talk about. Okoro, again, I really dislike playing him. Be careful here. He did shoot really well. He's normally a super low usage guy, but he should get over 30 minutes and is below 4K. Dean Wade off the bench played 32 minutes. Playable, right? Are you going to get excited about Dean Wade? No, but he did play over 30, and he's 3.5K. And the last guy I mentioned is Damian Dotson, who played 24 minutes. I think we get similar run from him. He's a flat min price. So, yeah, there's a few viable value guys that are playable for the Cavs, but no one that you're just like, oh, I really feel good about playing, Dean Wade. No. So, the Atlanta Hawks. I do not play centers against Joel Embiid, so I'll not be playing Capella. Bogdan Bogdanovic at 7.6. I think he's in play for tournaments. I don't like the matchup, but he should play, 35 to 40 minutes. Goodwin's out. Trae Young's out, so he's getting on the ball in his hands a lot. I think he's a viable tournament play. Collins, Gallinari, no thank you. Kevin Huerter at 6'4" is doubtful. I'm curious to see what Atlanta does with their starting lineup. Does Lou Williams maybe move in? Maybe. They're thin on guards. So, if Lou Williams starts, I think he's someone we could look to for value. Solomon Hill will probably get minutes, but he's such a low usage guy. And then Kris Dunn in his first game back only played 13 minutes. I think they're going to kind of ease him into it. So, unless there's no limit for Kris Dunn, I don't even think I can go there. So, yeah, kind of an ugly team right now with a lot of injuries and a tough matchup. But, I think Bogdan, interesting contrarian GPP play. And then maybe Lou Williams if he starts, just because, I don't know what else they're going to do with the starting lineup. They are thin. On the 76ers side, they're basically fully healthy. It's Joel Embiid for me, and that's about it. At 10.6K, I think he's a fine contrarian spend up, but not my favorite one on this slate, and that's really it. I'm not going to get to anyone else. Charlotte, Boston. So Revenge Meredith here for Terry Rozier. I like him for tournaments. He should play, in a close game, close to 40 minutes. A guy that does have upside. So Rozier is interesting for tournaments. Miles Bridges is playing really well. He had another big game today. I would still rather get to Rozier over Bridges, but if you want to ride the hot streak of Bridges, I'm not going to talk you off him. Also, Charlotte's basically running an 8-man rotation, which is nice. PJ Washington, after a lot of good games in a row, he got in early foul trouble, like I mentioned, with PJ Washington. Whenever he's somewhat popular, he wasn't super popular, but it's just you can't expect a ton of good games from PJ in a row. If he starts the 5 again, viable. Devontae Graham's a decent play in the mid-range. I think get 30 to 35 minutes. Cody Martin has been starting. If he starts again, then yes, he's playable. Just because the price point plus the minutes. And then off the bench, where is he? Brad Wanamaker got mid-20s minutes. He's played 24 against Boston, and he played 25 tonight. He's the flat min price. Yeah, you can use him. All right, on the Boston side. So assuming Tatum, Kemba are both out again, Jaylen Brown, probably the best spend up. Again, had an absolutely massive game today because the Thunder kept it close. Price didn't move. Great matchup again. I think he's one of the better spend ups of the slate for sure. Marcus Smart, I think, shot 2 of 15, but still, I think, somewhat salvaged the day. I think he's still a solid play the mid-range. Scrolling down a bit more, Fournier started. Hold on, let me see how many minutes he played. I'm curious. So, Fournier started. Oh, he played 35 minutes. Okay, so he's basically off his minutes restriction. Okay. So he played 35. Smart played 38. Brown played 38. And then Pritchard played 33 off the bench. All right. So, yeah, I think Pritchard, is someone we could look to for value. He had a really good game today. Don't expect that good of a game. But, again, Boston, they're going to need help if those two guys are out again. And then where else was I going to talk about here? Oh, Fournier. Yeah, so Fournier's a 5'3". Assuming he starts again and gets mid-30s minutes, he's actually playable. So Boston's a team I kind of like just because if they're shorthanded again, you got Brown, you got Smart, you got Fournier, you got Pritchard. I think all look pretty good. Lakers, Wizards. So they have LeBron. They have AD listed as out, even though it's probable. He was no longer on a minutes limit. Played 31 minutes. This is a fantastic matchup. I think he's someone we could look to as a spend up. You know, we haven't really seen a big game from AD in a while because, again, kind of easing him back into it. But now he gets a matchup against the Wizards with no LeBron still. I'm intrigued by Anthony Davis. Drummond, always playable. You guys know the drill. Super frustrating player in DFS. Does have upside, though. Dennis Schroeder, as always, is the safest option because the floor of the assists. 13, 10, 10 assists. Good matchup. I think he's a perfectly fine play in the mid-range. I'm probably not getting to anyone else in the Lakers. Moving on to the Wizards, Russell Westbrook. Again, very, very safe play at the top. Had that 1-4 game against Cleveland, but other than that, he's like 50-plus to 60-plus every single night. So Westbrook looks like one of the safest spend-ups of the board. Beal at 10K, more of a contrarian play. The center, roulette wheel, if I'm going to take a shot at one, it still would be Gafford, even though he got limited last game, just because, you know, when he does play more, he will absolutely crush. But right now, it's just like a complete shot in the dark. Scott Brooks, again, one of the worst coaches in the NBA. I'm not sure why he still has a job. Chicago and New York, not a good matchup here for the Bulls, so not much that I love. Vooch, contrarian spend up, probably not for me. Kobe White is fine in the mid-range. He should play mid-30s minutes, and, you know, him and Vooch have been the number 1, number 2 in offense. Daniel Tice has had a ceiling game out of nowhere, played 32 minutes, went for 51 fantasy points. It kind of feels like chasing if you go back here. I think he's like a fine value, but don't expect anywhere near 51 fantasy points again in a tough matchup. On the Knicks side, so Randall kind of had a 4-game last game, but this is a pretty good matchup. If you want to go there, it's going to try and spend up. I'm not going to talk you off him. Derrick Rose at 5'4", you know, has played 33 minutes in back-to-back games, 30, 33, and 33. You know, that's good to see. Hold on. Ooh. Thought I was going to sneeze. Sorry. You guys know it's just literally the worst allergies and always have the itchiest nose whenever I make these videos. But, yeah, so Rose, 30, 33, 33 minutes the last 3 games. That's good, right? So if Derrick Rose is going to continue to play over 30 minutes, I think he's someone that's a pretty good play at that price point. Reggie Bullock, you know, will play the minutes, but he's super reliant in scoring. Nerlens Noel, 4.4K. I think we get, you know, 25 to 30 minutes, a fair value. And, yeah, that is really it. All right, so let's move on to San Antonio and Miami. Tough matchup here for the Spurs. DeRozan, DeJounte Murray, viable contrarian plays. Again, really don't like the matchup here. Derek White is out, so keep an eye on the starting lineup. I'm guessing it's probably going to be Lonnie Walker that moves in the starting lineup. If he does start, then yes, he's playable at 3.6K. And I do think it's probably a few more minutes for Patty Mills, too, played 32 the last game. Both those guys are in play for value. I don't love either, but they should play more with no Derek White. All right, on the Miami side, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. It's a decent matchup here. You know, Jimmy has a pretty high floor, has triple-double upside. I think he's a pretty fair play. Also, small forward is always weak on these slates, so Jimmy definitely viable. Bam Adebayo at 8.7 also I think is, you know, priced about right, but still has a little bit of upside. Now, keep an eye on Nunn and Hero. This is pretty big. If they're both out, I'm pretty high on Goran Dragic. I was shocked he played 35 minutes. They've really been easing his minutes, but he played 35 the last game. So, assuming Nunn and Hero are out again, if Dragic starts, I think he's actually a really good play in the mid-range. And then Trevor Ariza kind of had a big game. It feels like chasing a little bit at 4.6. And Iguodala's at 3.3. We can probably do better for value. All right, Portland and Memphis. This is a game I do like, which means they'll probably blow out. So the top 2 guards, Lillard and CJ, are both in play. Might prefer the price in CJ now at 8.1K to Lillard at 9.3. But again, like the matchup a good amount. And you guys know I'm high on Yusuf Nurkic again. Was on pace for a massive game tonight, and the game blew out. Previous 2 games, 50+. I'm not afraid of Jonas Valanciunas' defense. As long as he stays out of foul trouble, we're going to get about 30 minutes from Nurkic. So I like him once again in the mid-range. Secondary options like Powell, Covington, Melo. Don't know if we have to go there. On the Memphis side, it's Ja and JV. Ja really seems to be turning a corner now. Even with JV back, he's put up a couple big games. Went for 44 last game in a blowout against Denver. He seems, again, to be turning it on recently. This is a good matchup. He just went for 60+ against Portland about a week ago. So, yeah, I am high on Ja Morant for tournaments. I don't know if I pull a trigger on him in cash game today, too, but I like the upside. Jonas Valanciunas with Triple J back, I would say is a little riskier, but still viable for GPPs. I'm probably not going to get to anyone else from the fully healthy Memphis team. All right, New Orleans and Denver. Zion as a contrarian spend up, playable. The guy that I do like, and I think is underpriced, is Lonzo Ball. So good to see is 34 and 38 minutes. If Lonzo's going to play 35 plus minutes, even this matchup, he's too cheap at 6.5K. So I think Lonzo's a pretty good play in the mid-range. And then big news, Steven Adams. If Steven Adams is out again, we can go to Guillermo Hernan-Gomez, would be one of my favorite value plays. The only issue is, potential for foul trouble against Nikola Jokic, but it's not he's super expensive, so Hernan-Gomez would like. I think Jackson Hayes got in foul trouble last game. He played 17 minutes. Yeah, he did. Both those guys are playable, are good values, but would prefer whoever starts. Guessing it would be Hernan-Gomez over Jackson Hayes since he played well the last game. On the Denver side, Nikola Jokic at 11K. I mean, if there's no Steven Adams, he'll be able to feast against either center they try to throw on him. So really like Jokic at the top. MPJ is certainly playable at 8.6. He has been clearly their number 2 option. He's been playing really well of late. 43, 59, and 47 fantasy points. Even at 8.6, I'm actually fine going to MPJ. The rest of the Nuggets is where it gets hard to trust anyone. Dozier had the big game 2 games ago, but came back down to earth for 19 fantasy points. Gordon's been disappointing. Campozo, price about right. Rivers is, Austin Rivers. So nothing else I feel super confident in. All right, Utah, Sacramento. So still no Mitchell. Gobert at 8.3K. Again, he'll play the minutes. He doesn't get a big bump with Mitchell off the court. The guy that does get the biggest bump is Mike Conley. I like him a good amount. Even at 7.6, great matchup. Should play again low to mid 30s minutes. So I do like Conley even at that price. Ingles has been a little bit disappointing of late. 1 of 9 and 3 of 14 shooting. He's not going to continue to shoot that bad. So I still think he's in play in the mid-range, but would rather get to Conley. And then Clarkson is always in play for GPPs. I don't really love the price now at almost 7K, but he has shot 16 and 20 times the last couple games. He's going to get shot attempts up. When he has that game where he has a good shooting game, he could go for 50. So still have interest in there for tournaments. Bojan, again, I don't play, and Royce O'Neal is kind of just a secondary play. All right, Sacramento. So De'Aaron Fox still out. Harrison Barnes is questionable, I think. So keep an eye on this one. We'll start with Halliburton. Even in a bad matchup, Halliburton's going to play 35 plus minutes. At 7-1, I still have interest in him, a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. Buddy Hield is fine, but would rather get to Halliburton at a similar price. Keep an eye on Rashawn Holmes. If there's no minutes limit, he's a viable tournament play, even in a bad matchup. And then if there's no Barnes, I don't know what they're, are they going to move DeLon Wright in the starting lineup? Harkless is already starting at 3.8. He's a low usage guy, but you can play him. You're never going to feel good about playing Mo Harkless. Again, DeLon Wright, 27, 22 minutes on the bench last couple games. See what they do. If he starts, would like him more. He comes to the bench a little bit riskier. And then, Damian Jones got some of the backup 5 run, but I'm probably not going to do that. Terrence Davis has played 16 and 19 minutes last couple games. Maybe Davis or DeLon Wright are more viable if there's no Harrison Barnes. And keep an eye on that one. Finally, Clippers and Suns. So Paul George ruined everyone's lineup the other day, including myself. He was the ultimate chalk and just foul trouble plus blowout. Still no Kawhi. Kawhi's doubtful. Unfortunate for my best ball team. I got another just knife to the chest. I don't like the matchup as much here against Phoenix. Phoenix is really solid defensively. So at 9.8K, I still think Paul George is a solid spend up, but not a priority play for me. And Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann, I don't know if I get to anyone else here on the Clippers. And again, Kawhi Leonard doubtful, so don't expect him to play. We'll mention Boogie has played, been playing the backup 5. He got extended because of the blowout, but he should get about 15 minutes off the bench. If you want to take a shot on Boogie Cousins, I actually don't hate it because he's that good of a point per minute guy. And if something happens to Zubac, if you get in foul trouble and Cousins has to play more, right? Playable. So Cousins, I actually think, is at least intriguing for GPPs. And finally, the Phoenix Suns. So Devin Booker at 8K, fine tournament play. Chris Paul at 7.6 in a revenge game narrative. The minutes have been a lot higher recently for him. 38, 34, 38, 33, 34 minutes the last 5 games. That's good to see. Plus, again, he has the floor of the peripheral stats. Again, revenge game narrative too. So I think Chris Paul is a pretty solid play in the mid-range. And then DeAndre Ayton too. Again, 34, 33, 35 minutes. If he's going to continue to play about 35 minutes, I think he's a fair play at his price. Keep an eye on Jake Crowder, Dario Saric. If they're both out, then I guess we can consider the duo of Cam Johnson and Torrey Craig. But again, you're not going to feel good. People chase the Torrey Craig game, and sure enough, 9 fantasy points, right? So it's I just don't trust the secondary plays at all for the Phoenix Suns. And yeah, that is going to do it for the video today, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content so far, I would really appreciate if you hit the like button on the video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos you don't live. Let's hope for a better slate today, because this slate went just awful for myself. But yeah, again, I'll see you guys all in the live stream tomorrow. Have a great night, and again, I'll see you tomorrow.